Hello again. Now, languages play a vital role in development, ensuring diversity and, of course, intercultural dialogue. That's the view of the United Nations. Today, being International Mother Language Day, we speak to the Basic Education Department here at home to find out what it's doing on its part to ensure that African languages continue to be used and taught in our schools. Let's speak to Elijah Mhlanga now, who, of course, works for the DBE. Tata Mhlanga, Inhlikani, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. What is your mother language, my brother?
Braden, Inhlikani, Rona le re bla ka Rona.
Ashitsonga,
It's
Beautiful. Thank you for confirming. The point, though, on a serious note, is that we need to do everything possible to look after, preserve, grow, encourage the use of our mother languages. And in most cases, the majority of South Africans, they would be indigenous African languages. Are we doing enough as a country, especially in the education system? What's your view?
Well, we can do more. But it starts in the home. And then it should go to school. So for the Department of Basic Education and the sector, we have various initiatives that we put in place to support the use and teaching of African languages in schools. In the majority of our schools, African languages are there. But we also know that our former Model C schools, there were some which still did not have in African language, especially indigenous African languages. So we thought since back in 2013-14, we would compel them to offer these languages in what we called back then the incremental introduction of African languages in schools. And we encouraged universities as well, and we encouraged our young people to choose the indigenous African languages as part of their training when they're preparing to become teachers, so that we have enough supply of teachers who can teach in these languages. And we are making some progress in that regard. And there's still a lot of work to be done, but there is some work that is already being done because the policy provides for it. What is required is for us to actually make sure that it happens in the school.
Yeah, and the bottlenecks for making it not to happen, are they only in terms of resources, in terms of the availability of teachers who are able and are skilled enough to teach in the various of our African languages? Yes.
First and foremost is the availability of teachers, because that's what you need. It is them who are responsible for teaching the languages. So if that's not available, you might have your resources, you might have your books translated and maybe even some original material being developed. But if there are no people who are going to make sure that this is taught in schools, then you're not going to win. That's why we have even gone to use our Funza Rushaka bursary program to make a condition for young people choosing teaching as a career to consider taking African languages to come and teach those at primary school level, because that's the foundation phase. That's where it all begins. So we are doing our bit in terms of teacher supply, but we're also doing our bit in terms of teacher training. In terms of resources, we work with a whole range of institutions that have the capacity to produce material. So that is there, but you still find schools that say they don't have teachers, and we have said to them, yes, but you can rotate that one teacher that's available in your area. But most of all, it's the parents who have the power to determine what happens at school level. Because when we started in the beginning, we said to parents, please choose any language that you feel should be taught in the school based on the number of learners that are available there. And we found that some parents said English is fine. They don't want their children learning African languages. And it's true, it's there, the feedback is there, it's available for people to see that there was that type of response. But over time, we are seeing a gradual increase in the number of children who are taking the African languages. But we also have a situation where some parents feel it is not necessary. So we really need a mindset change in terms of making sure that all our children have access to all these indigenous African languages, because they're equal to any other language.
Yeah, Tata Mhlanga, before I let you go, final question. It's going to be a little bit long, but I'm just trying to give the right context. A few weeks ago, we announced the matric results, this class of 2021. Maths and science again showing that there are still some gaps there. I interviewed a university professor, and I asked, why shouldn't we in South Africa, like it happens in other parts of the world, teach our children maths and science, those kind of subjects, in their mother language from early on in the primary? And the response I got was that from this university professor, had she not been taught maths and science in Afrikaans, she would not have succeeded. Afrikaans being, of course, her mother language. And then the other day, Justice Mandi Samaya was being interviewed by the JSE for the post of Chief Justice. We're still waiting, of course, to hear whether or not she'll get the nod from the President. But she is one of the first judges to have written a whole judgment in the history of South Africa, Supreme Court of Appeal, in isiXhosa. Historically, judgments have been written in English and Afrikaans. Shouldn't you, as a basic education department as well, promote the teaching of subjects in mother languages?
We are. In fact, thanks for that question. We are. In fact, as I'm speaking to you, the Minister of Arts and Culture, Sport and Recreation has just delivered his speech in the Eastern Cape, East London, at the International Convention Centre, where he was addressing the International Mother Language Day. And the Minister of Basic Education will be there tomorrow addressing the same conference. It's in East London, Eastern Cape, because the Eastern Cape has already started doing exactly what you're asking us to do. 2020, they wrote physical science, they wrote mathematics and other subjects in isiXhosa as well. And the teaching of that is currently happening in that province. And we are using the Eastern Cape as a pilot, as a case study to see how it can work if it were to be rolled out in other provinces. So we are there, we are in the Eastern Cape, we've already started doing exactly that which you say we must do. The material has been translated, the learners are already there in their numbers. In fact, the minister, when she speaks tomorrow, she will unveil all the figures in terms of performance and other work that has been done. It's all in that speech that she's going to deliver tomorrow. So it will answer some of the questions that you have asked and provide more detail over and above what I've given you. But we are already on that path, and we are happy that some universities have already come on board in that regard, because it has to be a systemic change that takes place. It cannot be isolated, because there's a value chain that is involved in this. So we all need to come on board to make it a reality.
Okay, and that's Elijah Mhlanga speaking on behalf of the Department of Basic Education on this International Day of the Mother Tongue.